I think we did because McDohl was talking about 14 a few minutes ago.
Before we start, I do want to say that people were the Steam database page for the Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster says it's going to be released on the 19th of August.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, let me grab my water. I'll be right back. Then I'll be good to go.
Oh, I didn't get a new bubbly drink. I'll be right back too.
Dang it. Okay.
I won't help you at all. but I just want you to know when you go, I tap out. If you tap out, I'll answer any questions you have on.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Because
So
there's some stuff about equipment and interactions that is not
intuitive.
It's not Clue. No.
All right.
It's kind of a similar situation. You play like Saga Frontier and like they show your defense. Remember they would show the one, but there's like 12 different kinds of. It's just a matter of they don't tell you information.
Like a Saga game.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Saga game.
I like Saga games.
It's a bad
but
Saga game.
I'm scared it might be a bad Saga game.
Listen, you like Suikoden games, but you don't like the bad Suikoden game. Right?
Which is what?
Yeah.
Well, for him, it's 3.
I knew you were going to do that.
For everybody else on Earth, it's 4.
It's 4. I got to finish my replay of 2. Hilariously, you know what point I stopped at in Suikoden 2?
Green Hill.
No.
Oh.
I just beat Luca Blight.
I was going to say that, and I've never even played the game.
There's kind of a downturn in the game at that point, too.
The game should end here. It can't, but it should.
Just gonna say
it feels like the game should end there, yeah. But the story isn't about Luca Blight. It's about these two kids.
Oh, it's about Luca Blight. I disagree with that. It is very much about Luca Blight. The problem is that it's about Luca Blight, and he's dead halfway through it.
Well, no,
and you're picking up the pieces afterwards.
The fight is about the war between these two runes, and Luca doesn't have either rune. Luca is the distraction from the main story.
Yeah, who gives a shit about those runes? The Beast rune is incredible. I want to know more about the Beast rune.
Luca is Eddard Stark. Everybody thinks he's the main character until he just dies unceremoniously. And there's 5 books.
Oh, rune of beginning, bright shield, black shield, whatever. Give me the fucking Beast rune.
Three separate phase boss fights with 3 separate parties, followed by a 1v1. No, that's not unceremoniously Brick Road. Lovingly animated arrows firing into him repeatedly. Yeah, no, that's not done ceremoniously.
Last thing before we start. I remember reading fans being like fan translations and like those translators being really adamant about like the Beast Rune was never on Luca. Luca never actually controlled the Beast Rune. It was put in the castle. The castle made its home there. It's its own sentient thing. I'm just like, no, he had the Beast Rune. He was using it in the fight against me. It's fine.
Yeah. Luca Blight.
You kind of went like full rabid fanboy there for a second. You all right, dude?
I did.
You got some froth on the side and lips.
How often do you hear that, though?
Every time we talk about Suikoden. Every time. It's not our fault we don't talk about Suikoden that often. They stopped making Suikoden games, so...
Yeah, thanks, Konami.
If we'd been up to Suikoden 14 by now, or Suikoden Online, sold in 3 parts for $40 a piece or whatever...
Oh, I can't even imagine what that game would be. Oh.
So, you guys go ahead and take the benefits of the long rest. You can take the benefits of 2 long rests if you're going to leave on the 3rd day.
Thank you. Needed those surges.
Destil gave me winged boots, and I no longer have the cloak of protection. So my AC is no longer 22. It is a much less swarthy number. It's only 21 now.
It's not a much less number.
You're going to get hit like 5% more often. But less than that because crits don't give a fuck about your armor class.
Unless you have adamantine armor. So it
doesn't stop a 20 from hitting, though.
So the captain of the Widdershins he's going to be making multiple trips. He's going to take you to the place near to where the hole opens up under Dunfoss, which is a fair distance from the tower. And then you instruct him to kind of try to stay in the area after he drops you off, because supplies are going to be coming down on these ridiculous mechanical parachute contraptions.
Yep.
Fulton devices.
I can cast a spell that will let me get a message to you that we are alive. I'll leave it up to you to determine how to determine the veracity of such a spell, though, considering what we're up against.
So the Widdershin submerges deep below in the area, and underneath the main hole that you guys originally floated down in the Cockatoo, deep underneath that, at the floor of what is now the floor of the ocean, there's another smaller hole. And the Widdershins is able to navigate down it some distance, but it reaches a point after a sharp curve around, it starts to sharply curve back upward. And at this point, the captain is afraid the maneuver will
Damage the ship.
not damage the ship, but he'd like wedge it. Like if he makes his turn, he won't be able to unmake it.
Mm.
So at this point, you'll have to exit the ship with water breathing.
Suez Canal it.
Exactly.
I just want to throw out there in a pinch. I do have water walking, but it is a level 3 spell. And I'm a dumbass ranger, so I don't get a lot of those charges.
What I've got is I've got a wand with 10 shots of alter self.
How long does that last?
That's what I'm looking right now. It might only be like a combat spell for when you swim
It's
speeds.
concentration, isn't it?
Yeah, so everyone would have to use it themselves. Anyone can use the item I make.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't require any special knowledge, and they can concentrate on the spell themselves.
Okay.
It lasts an hour. So we should have water breathing on top of that, but we can all get a swim speed for... there's 5 of us, so for 5 hours.
I think what
But
we
doesn't...
should, I think
Go ahead.
on that, I think we should say that for an emergency. Like,
Well, I think you, myself, and Steely don't have much of a choice, because we just sink.
well, I mean, we just walk along the bottom of we walk along the bottom of
Okay.
the tunnel.
I mean, the other thing is it takes like 10 actions to pass the wand around and fire them off, so...
But no, I mean, like, when I say an emergency, I mean, like, an emergency in the sense that, like, we're walking for 24 hours, there's no dry place for Lucius to sit down and read his book.
Which I assume is being kept in like a Ziploc bag or something right now.
Should I prepare water breathing? Because I would only need to have an artificer item in hand. I wouldn't need a book out to cast it. Should I put that on my spell list in case Lucius can't?
Lucius is not going to sustain damage to his book by using underwater. It's a class feature.
Okay.
I'm not willing to.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's a magical warlock tome. You got to do more than
It
just
is.
submerge it.
Yeah.
It's made
Yeah.
it's made from the skin of children or something. I don't know.
Listen, don't ask those
It's
kind
the
of
kids that
questions.
really like to be in the pool, though, so it's fine.
They're all pruny now.
Before underwater, Lucius, is your book turning pruny? What is it made out of?
You don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
That is a fair answer.
But yeah, I have Walter Self in the wand right now, so if you need a swim speed, just grab the wand. It's currently on Scrappy. Steal.
Well, I think you have 10 charges in it, right?
Yeah.
There's 5 of us.
Yep.
Well, actually, there's 6 of us because we have.
Oh,
Scrappy
yeah.
doesn't need to breathe. Oh yeah. Or Steely doesn't need to breathe? Question mark.
No, he doesn't, but we have Numac.
Uh-huh.
It was more for the swim speed. But yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like we're heading out water breathing.
Okay, so you cast water breathing and heading to the tunnel. And you can move along the bottom of the tunnel even in heavy armor. But the slope is very sharp upward. And it starts to narrow very sharply and also in a very irregular way. You're starting to see why you're not the captain wasn't sure he could navigate through the tunnel. So you're climbing up this very steep slope and resting for a few moments on the outcroppings of the slope that are relatively flat, but everything is narrow. You're not going to keep a foothold here for long. As you crest to the top and it starts to even back out, you actually break the surface of the water. Like you've gone through... I mean, you're just going through a grease trap. It's just like a sink. And into this air pocket deep below this cave. Does anybody have any way to know what direction you're pointing at this point?
My stuff is only on favorite terrain, so
Do compasses work?
Do you have a
I don't have a
compass?
compass.
Oh, I thought Alex had a compass. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, so you don't know which direction you're moving in, but there's not a lot of options. The tunnel continues forward.
because I'm
How is
assuming you're not
somebody
counting.
Give me either nature or a history check, because you've had a conversation about this topic with the Lady Pale Top.
+6 to history.
Would you, if you would count? I'm assuming this is not mountainous terrain
It is not.
that we're dealing. Yeah,
You are in a cave.
Yeah.
Specifically,
I
the
do
Underdark.
have. I am proficient in nature. If it matters for anyone,
Yeah, I'm proficient in history, and I have +6 to the roll.
go for it, buddy.
Let's go ahead and make me a history
Oh.
check.
I'll assist, and you can have a cigarette.
You do not roll this at advantage, though. I'm
Okay.
assuming that he's being assisted. He has the roll at disadvantage.
Oh, okay.
Being assisted adds advantage.
Plus a D4 for funsies. Oh, well, thank you. But that's 22 plus another 2 is just 24.
Okay. You had a conversation with Lady Pale Top about why they don't have good maps of these caves, and one of the reasons she gave you is that these drow kingdoms especially will enslave or breed purple worms to eat their way through the tunnels to quickly create passages where they can move personnel. Looking at the sides of the wall here, you're pretty sure that's what created this tunnel. How long ago, you can't be certain. And you're not sure what direction you're moving, but there's a lot of twisting back and forth, but the tunnel remains at a pretty uniform width once it comes up out of the water.
Imagine it's just something like animal husbandry.
And it's a very quiet place. Very remote. Featureless. Are you guys using a light source or just relying on dark vision?
We have that coin, don't we?
Connor's dark vision is limited, right? So we should probably
Yeah.
break out the continual flame point.
It's a
Mounted
spell
onto Steely.
cast, so.
Oh,
I
it lasts 8
cast-
hours though, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you want me to cast it, if you want me to cast it, I can cast it. It's no big deal. I will cast it.
But yeah, we are relying on dark vision then.
Okay. I just have to do some cleanup work in Photoshop here. For some reason, Photoshop doesn't always like it when you open up like 8 different 4,500 by 2,500 large PSD files.
Can't imagine your computer must be crying the safe word.
Okay. You travel for a lot longer than you think you were expecting. Possibly a couple of days. But the tunnel doesn't deviate. It doesn't branch. There aren't other holes that connect to it. And there aren't maddening winds blowing through it, which is very nice. On the third or maybe the fourth day, it's hard to kind of keep track down here, you do reach a spot where for the first time the tunnel starts to narrow. And it starts to narrow very, very quickly to the point where you're no longer moving through this purple worm tunnel, but it kind of connects with just a natural crack or fissure in the wall that is no more than about 10 feet in width. And following that, you do eventually reach a point where it branches off in a couple of different directions.
Do we have chalk or something to mark the passage? At the very least.
There's a new Mac. There's one for his...
I mean, I can just take out a hammer and chisel. I think chalk would
Okay.
get washed away potentially. Plus, you couldn't see chalk in the dark.
Fair enough.
These are 10-foot squares, by the way. So we're going to shrink y'all down. Does somebody want to make the like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sound effect?
What is that? I wouldn't know it.
Rick Moranis.mp3.
Great. Now my defense is 0.
Yeah.
At least I can run away without penalty.
Also, your depending on
Spellcasting isn't affected.
and your evasion is doubled.
How many more of these can we get? How many more of these jokes can we get in?
That was it. That was the last of them.
Okay.
So you eventually reach this first opening as the Purple Worm Tunnel collides with just a cracked fissure in the wall. You follow that forward, and eventually you come to a place where it opens up in 3 different directions, plus the direction you came back.
So yeah, Alex is going to pull a hammer and chisel out of his toolkit, and he is going to chisel a crude Flumph marker here, and underneath that say origin.
So looking to the north, the passage winds away and has an opening off to the right. Looking off to the southwest, the passage starts to even out and turn to the right. And looking off to the northwest, same thing happens. So those are the 3 options.
Good investigators go right.
I thought always turn left, but sure.
Well, that's adventurers and we're investigators.
Oh, that's right. No, you're completely right.
As you make your way north along this passage, you notice that more and more frequently as you move forward, you see stalactites poking down from the roof. Looking off to the right, you can look down about 30 feet, and then the entire passage is blocked off by a large round stone. What's interesting about this stone is it's much smoother than the walls of the caverns you've been traveling through. That's about 30 feet away. Let me get a not white color and I'll draw it in for you. So about here.
You think it's a plug to keep water from rushing in?
You haven't seen water in a couple of days and you don't hear any flowing or dripping nearby.
Do I feel like we've generally been heading up? Like on a gross scale?
Since you left the water, there have been times when, yeah, you've had to climb upward. And there's also been times where you've had to carefully work your way downward. I'd give you more information than that if you were a dwarf. But nobody ever rolls up dwarf.
I was going to, but then somebody was like, "Nope, next campaign, no dwarves."
I'll go and investigate the smooth stone. Why not?
When you get right up next to it and look at it, you realize it's flat on its front face and it's fairly smooth. And on the left side, it also looks like the stone is set somewhat into the wall. Like there's a groove carved in the left-hand side of the cave wall that this stone could slide or roll into.
Alex is going to look for traps for any mechanism that could trigger something if you try and interact with the stone.
Give me an investigation check.
You got it. I mean, I could just tank another feeble mind, but it seems more prudent. That's an investigate of
I'm putting feeble mind traps on everything from now on.
23.
23? You don't see any obvious traps. Structurally speaking, it's not even really a mechanism. It's just a slab of stone set into a groove that can be moved aside. The difficulty is on this side of the stone, there doesn't seem to be any way to grip it.
Do I think I can get a crowbar in the way that it doesn't slide in, just to get enough leverage to get my hands behind it?
Possibly.
So, thieves' tools and crowbar to try and just get enough space that Gus could try and start opening it.
Well, thieves' tools aren't going to avail you here, but a crowbar would be helpful.
Sure.
Go ahead and give me a strength check with advantage.
Gus, why don't you do that? I'll hand you the crowbar. Take a cigarette, too.
It's a gnome-sized crowbar, so it's just a toothpick.
We established he used a regular sized crowbar.
Oh, did
Yep.
we?
Yeah, we did. That was actually like in the first or second session.
All right, so that's a 15 on die plus, you said athletics?
No, just strength.
Oh, just strength. That is still a plus 6. So that's a 21.
Isn't your strength like 24?
22.
Nice. Yeah, you get enough leverage that you manage to start to roll this giant stone aside. And as you do, I mean, you're a strong guy and you've got leverage. So if something is moving this stone regularly, it's certainly a lot stronger than you are. However, before you manage to get it open enough to where you can squeeze past the rock. If you were so inclined.
I'm like holding in such a way where I can close it again in case we have to.
All you'd have to do is step back and it would roll back.
So, okay. Alex?
I mean, what do I see looking through the... I'll slip under where Gus is holding it open.
You look through and you see a narrow hallway on the other side. Goes forward about 20 feet and then turns to the right.
Hey, Connor, you can teleport through traps, right?
Oh, he can sense them.
What is your what? What?
I feel like someone who should teleport should be the one who goes in.
Let me double check Misty Step to make sure it's a thing I can actually do.
Misty Step is a place you can see. So you'd have to be looking through the gap while Gus is
Yeah.
standing there.
Okay,
Yeah.
If there's traps on the other side, it's better for me to trigger them than Connor.
How far forward do you go in this hallway? It goes about 20 feet forward and then turns off to the right.
Alex will move about. Yeah, let's just go to the turn and take a look.
When you get this far in the hallway, you feel your boot slide slightly on the ground. And looking down, you realize you're treading here and there on loose coins. Looking around the corner, you see that it's a dead end, but it's not empty. In the very far back corner is an enormous skeleton. Something that it looks vaguely humanoid, but it also has huge horns coming off the top of its skull. And it's kind of wedged way back into the back of the corner. You can see where straw rushes have been laid across the floor that this skeleton is kind of sitting cross-legged on with his chest somewhat slumped forward. Clattered to the ground in front of it is an enormous double-bladed great axe. And all around it are piles of coins.
Alex will pull a stone coin out of his belt and make the light of a candle shine from it and investigate what type of coins they are without touching them.
Mostly gold, but a smattering of other metals as well. A few silvers, a few platinums, a fair amount of coppers, but predominantly gold.
Giant skeleton and a ton of money, probably a trap.
I mean, we're not here for treasure.
We can get it on the way back if it's that important.
I feel like if you gave 10 Sales an update and be like, yeah, we left the piles of gold behind, he'd be like, what?
I think that like it was the choice between the piles of gold and stopping the psychic disturbance that's killing the city.
And he would say do both. Like, stop the disturbance, but also bring the piles of gold.
Gus lets it slide back closed.
Alex, as you're coming back, you can see on the inside of the door are two huge protrusions. I'm sorry, not protrusions. Divots with metal bars placed inside, large enough that a creature the size of the skeleton you saw could get its grip on it and roll the stone aside with relative ease.
Yep. And Alex will pull out his chisel and hammer and put another Flumph icon here, and then right underneath it, coins for later.
Okay.
Any idea what that beastie might be? Or might have been?
Yeah, just something with horns. Minotaur, devil, or demon or something.
Well, we were told that
Lucius and Numac. Numac has had his deafness cured, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are Lucius and Numac's passive perceptions?
Lucius's is pretty high. It's 18.
Okay. So they're up at the door as Alex is kind of squeezing back through it. And, I mean, the stone makes a fair rumbling noise as it grinds into place when Gus moved it aside, and then when it comes back to rest as well. And as they're sitting there kind of discussing what was on the other side, you hear footfalls from the north.
Lucius grabs Numac by the shoulder, goes around the corner. Lucius holds up a finger to his lips.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's a Minotaur. Like, we're just still discussing. I think it's a Minotaur because the lady said that there was an alliance.
Hey, Lucius, describe the types of demons that size and what their horns look like.
Lucius very forcefully puts his finger to his lips again.
Maybe they were the ones who were deafened. Okay, roll initiative. That's not a good initiative roll.
Oh, I didn't cast Gift of Alacrity. You just have to roll that 20 naturally now.
Figured Lucius
Holy
would
tits.
have, Lucius's urgency of taking everyone out of the way would have been enough to get the point, but what do I know? I'm just a guy.
You're the grand poobah of the most prestigious mages college in our city.
Thanks. Can I get a doohickey for Numac?
I put one there.
Thank you.
You got one.
Hey.
The do
I can
hucky.
observe. Lucius's passive perception's 18. Mine is decidedly not.
So yeah, as you guys are Lucius, you angrily turn around and hush your companions. It turns out to be pointless anyway, because two Minotaurs coming around the corner to investigate the sound of the stone rolling aside see Steely just standing here in the open, and the rest of you as well. And they heft their giant double-bladed battle axes and step into attack. Let's start us off with Connor.
Can I get a beat on them from here?
Yeah, as long as you can draw a line. It looks like you can.
I'm pretty sure I can. Just barely. All right. And each of these squares is 10 feet, right?
That
Yes,
is
sir.
correct.
Do I want to blow a 3rd level spell this early? God, rangers are terrible.
I like how look how much of the dungeon we've revealed. Like 5% of the dungeon, and he's like, I'm gonna blow my big spell right now.
No, I'm not.
He's like, hell yeah.
Slayer's Prey. I'll do this by the book.
Do I have more spell slots than you?
I think you might.
I don't. Actually, I don't. I don't have any third level spells.
If you'd taken the wizard class feature, you would have gotten 2 more third level spell slots.
I thought about it.
Me
Thought
too.
about it.
But they're
alright.
crappy spell slots, so.
Slayer's
Just
Prey.
wouldn't have.
It is a 14 hit.
14 does it.
Oh. All right. 14 does hit. That's trouble. That is
Why is that? Although I'd be happy to hear that.
it's 11 damage.
Okay.
Because it. Never mind.
All right, it doesn't hit.
I'll hit the 26 to hit, so he takes another 8 damage. And one more arrow for good measure is a 20 to hit, and it takes another 10 damage.
Okay. As
Ping, pang,
as
pong.
he comes around the corner, and before they even have a chance to charge, they see Steely standing there, and they're about to turn the corner. And lightning quick, you knock 3 arrows and put 3 right in his chest. He bellows out in pain. Are you moving or staying put?
Nope, this is a great position for me. I like it here.
How about Lucius?
Yeah. No. Let's go ahead and put some more stuff in his chest. How about some Eldritch Energy? Does a 13 hit?
No.
How about a 16?
16 will hit.
There we go. Looking at 11 points force damage.
Okay.
Push 10 feet.
Okay.
And let's do it again. One more blast. Come on. Fucker. That's that die. How does a 15 do?
15 will hit.
Looking for 10 points force damage and push 10 feet.
There's nowhere to push him because he's already back against
Okay.
the wall.
Okay.
He is now bloodied.
And
Lucius
will
stay put.
step back.
Step back. I like how you're all bunched up back here, so when I throw the AoE at you.
Yeah, throw that fireball. Let's do it.
Alexander.
So Alex pulls an oily substance out of his alchemist kit, reaches over to Connor's quiver, and coats the edge of it with it. That's a flame arrow, Connor, so the next 12 arrows pulled out of that will deal an extra 1d6 fire damage.
Cool. See,
move
rangers
back
are
to-
good as long as you have other people.
Steely is going to move up and take a swipe at this one.
Okay.
That hits an armor class of 12.
That does not hit.
That's the end of my turn.
All right, so you're staying put there. That's going to bring us to Gustavo.
All right. Let me see. 10. No, excuse me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Just for reference, how tall are the ceilings?
They're variable, but here the caves are pretty cramped and narrow, so probably no more than 12 feet at the tallest. It's a little higher back here in the big room, but as you go out into the tunnels, they do narrow some.
Okay. That's fine. I just was wondering. Gus is gonna. No, I'm standing right here, and I'm gonna dodge.
Gus is going to dodge. That brings us to Numac.
Numac is going to close with the boy and
The boy.
give him some sword swipes. does a... Damn. Stat block, please. Does a 22 does hit, right?
Sure does.
All right. So it needs a d8. You care about slashing versus psychic damage?
No.
Okay. Looking at 15 points of damage from that first hit.
Okay.
Second slash. 22. Ooh. 20 points of slashing and psychic damage. Third hit from class
How
feature
much for the
Rama.
second slash? 20?
20.
Okay.
And then the third hit is going to be a dirty 20. An unnatural 20. For 12 points
Just the
of slashing and psychic damage.
filthiest 20, and he is now bloodied as well.
Yep.
And Numac moving or staying put.
Numac is happy where he's at. At least until in a couple of seconds.
Max gonna get gored to death.
This one's going to disengage.
Sure.
Step back into this hallway, and hanging from its chest where it's got furs covering upper legs and its naughty bits, pulls out a bone horn and blows into it. The second one
I'm sure that's fine.
doesn't need to disengage. He can just step back 5, 10, yeah, and then charges towards Numac.
Okay.
It's going to be a 24 to hit.
That's gonna hit. Can't stop it with shield.
13 points of piercing damage.
Owie.
I need a strength saving throw from Numac.
Plus 3. 17.
17?
13 points of damage.
Yes. So
13
he is not
points of damage.
knocked off his feet by the attack. And after the Minotaur charges and gores him with his tusk, reaches up overhead with his battle axe.
Sure.
That's a 15 to hit.
Shield.
So
AC
Numac,
is 19.
the battle axe rings off the shield. So for a moment, you've got the echoing of the shield ringing the halls at the same time as the one up here blowing its horn. And that's going to bring us to Connor.
So yeah, you got 12 fire arrows. They deal an extra d6 fire.
I'm digging it. I like fire arrows. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go here. And I'm gonna shoot that one with a fire arrow. Gonna mark it with Slayer's Prey too, because that's how I roll.
Is it?
That is once again a 14 to hit.
Does not hit. I'm sorry, yes, 14 does hit.
I was going to say, it doesn't hit this time. Huh? That's all right. All right, so it's fire and it's Slayer's Prayed. So here's what we're going to do. See. Ugh. Only I could roll something like that. That is 12 piercing and 1 fire. Yes, 1 fire damage.
Well, it's a d6 fire. There's a 1 in 6 chance you roll a 1.
And 2 dice. Yes, I know.
1 in 6 times. It happens 100% of the time.
Did that land on its edge? It did.
We can
That's
still mouse
cool.
over it and see what it is.
That is a 20 to hit.
Gotta hit.
It's another fire arrow. So that is, once again, a 1. So that is 10 piercing and 1 fire damage.
Looking pretty haggard now.
So I completely, that is a 23 to hit. Hey, all right. That is 9 piercing and 4 fire this time.
And that's enough. The first Minotaur takes that. And this is the 6th arrow you've put into him. And it drops to its knees at first, and for a moment you think it's going to catch itself and get back up. But it doesn't. Its axe clatters to the ground and it falls face first at Numac's feet.
3 of them on fire too.
Moving or
Staying put. Staying put. I'm good.
It's going to bring us back to Lucius.
Let's go ahead and finish the job here. Let's see. That's 10, 20, 30. He doot? Well, then I boop.
I'm sorry, was that a sentence?
Was it? Yeah, it was. I'm firing some Eldritch Blasts at him. Is a 30 hit?
Yes.
7 points force damage. Push 10 feet.
Okay.
And again. 25 to hit.
Does hit.
For 13 points force damage.
And that's enough. With that second Eldritch Blast. Blown backwards into a place where the cave does start to widen again. And in addition to large stalactites coming down from the ceiling, you also see large columns rising up from the floor. And as the sound of the war horn dies, you start to hear a lot of movement from that area of the tunnel. Moving or staying put?
I think we should probably take a step back, get some good sight lines for the nonsense to come.
For the nonsense to come. That's going to bring us to Alexander. Just stepping forward.
You can
Alex,
mute
you're
your Destil.
Alex can move to there and ready an action to shoot the first Minotaur he sees.
Are you facing north or south ready to this action?
I'll face south because everybody else is dealing with north.
So
Meanwhile,
if you see a Minotaur
Steely...
come around this corner, you're going to shoot it.
Yep.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Steely will move up to the north and dodge.
And dodge. And that's going to bring us to Gustavo.
Gus is going to stand here next to Steely.
Mhm.
And he's going to cast mirror image on himself.
Okay. That's a good spell.
And then that's his turn.
And then Numac.
Numac will move to here and dodge.
Move to there and dodge. Okay. I have to do some measuring. Gus, from your position, you see Minotaurs appear from around both corners in front of you. 2 of them come around from the left side. And at least one of them is emerging from the right side. And they are all charging forward. This is as far as their movement gets them.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a fog of war. I don't see any on the map.
Yeah. Just pick
Yeah.
him up.
There we go.
Yeah.
And what about Connor? Connor's still here, right?
He sure
Connor's-
is.
Staring south, it looks like.
Gus would yell 3 on the north.
Oh, it's Connor's turn.
Yes, it is.
I see what you were going for now.
Mhm.
It's I am paying attention, I assure you.
Contemplating about how good Rangers are.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely not staring at my player. All right, gonna shoot that one. Gonna use Slayer's Prey and my fun flaming arrow. And that's a 1, because that's, of course it is.
No good.
I'm just... Second arrow. Not a 1. All right. It's 21 to hit.
21 does hit.
All right. 4. 12 piercing.
Okay.
5 fire. Third arrow.
That was 5 fire damage.
Yes.
Okay.
You're correct. That is a 28 to hit. It's 14 piercing and 1 fire.
What is so funny over there? Like,
The fact that I have to roll a 1 somewhere is really amusing to me at the moment.
how much fire on that?
1.
1. Like, is your roommate a clown or something? Like, what's going on?
No,
I mean, if it
it's-
makes you feel any better, I basically just cast a fireball that took 4 turns and did 12 damage.
It doesn't make me feel better at all. No.
Delayed tiny blast fireball. Connor, moving or staying put?
I'm staying put.
Staying put there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, did somebody like release laughing gas into the ventilation system?
No,
of your
it's
building?
I would like to not roll a 1 of all the dice I am rolling at the moment.
It's awful
But
giggly.
nope. Just I can't not roll a 1.
Is something
So.
tickling your feet? It's gonna bring us to Lucius.
Hop around the corner, and let's go ahead and throw some Eldritch Blast. I'm going to throw 1 at that guy and 2 at that guy.
Very good.
30-20. The filthiest 20. For 10 points of force damage.
Against the one on the left,
Yeah, the one on the left pushed 10 feet.
and it is bloodied. You can go ahead and push it.
And then this guy. Uh, 30.
That'll hit.
9 points force damage.
Okay.
Push 10 feet.
You can push him 5 feet because there's a big stone column coming up from the floor here, right behind him.
Well, let's just pound him up against that then.
So you just fire off 2 blasts, and you throw both of them back up against this stone column.
27 to hit.
That'll hit.
14 points force damage.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. And is Lucius moving or staying put?